Hello everyone, hope everyone's doing well. Like I say every single week, I'm on my dark mood today. Got that black and gold like Sam Sparrow, if y'all know that song. I listened to that song just yesterday actually. And got my black lipstick, or lip gloss. It's sparkly. Changing it up, look. Sparkle a little in the light. If you did not know, it is Black Music Month. So all month on here and TikTok, Instagram, depending on how long the videos are, they're also going to be on Facebook, which I plan on making like 3-minute videos. So yeah, I don't know. Let me go on a little rant. Why does Instagram Reels not let you do 3 minutes? It's like I want people to see my reel, but they can't see it because it's over 90 seconds. That's all they give you. Maybe I'll try and do things like under a minute, and we'll see how it goes. I don't know if I can talk that fast. Y'all know I like to ramble like I am now. We're back on the couch. So yeah, I like to ramble, so I don't know how that's gonna go, but I'm gonna try my best. So today, for the first week of Black Music Month, I'm gonna talk about Mary J. Blige's My Life documentary on Amazon Prime Video. I think it's just called Prime Video. But you get what I'm saying. If you got Prime, you got the video. Okay. That's all I'm saying. I think it's an exclusive, but I'm sure you can find it on 123 Movies or something, if you don't mind potential virus. I'm sure you can find it without the virus, maybe on Daily Mail. But yeah, so I'm going to talk about that today, and of course I'm going to read some poetry that I wrote. I haven't written a new style in a while. So I did today. Let me just tell you, when I was going through, I go to this website called shadowpoetry.com. They kept telling me about iambic pentameters, and I was like, nope. A lot of ones got crossed off the list because I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. But you know what? I should challenge myself. I didn't feel like challenging myself today because I was up until like 3 or 4, and then of course I saw a bug, and I was paranoid. But then I knocked him out. I got knocked out. So, but yeah. So what I'm gonna start off with is the pros / interesting parts, or parts that were interesting to me. So first of all, if you don't know who Mary J. Blige is, what's wrong with you? And then secondly, she is a singer, songwriter. She does R&B. I want to say like R&B hip hop kind of fusion, like with her debut album, What's the 411, which they did talk about in the documentary. She does soul music, pop music. She is notoriously called the Queen of Hip Hop Soul by Diddy. You all know how I feel about him. Have I talked about him in the video? Well, I don't know if I have like re-uploaded any videos where I've been talking about him, or if I've talked about him in the past, but Diddy, he ain't no good to me. But I'm gonna research about him. Maybe I'll make a video for TikTok or Instagram, or well, it'll be started on TikTok and then go on Instagram and Facebook. But yeah, he a little shady. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna do more research. But you know, I was just looking at videos on Suge Knight, and he's a bad guy too. He's a really bad, like evil. But that's not what we're here for. So Mary J. Blige, that's who she is. She's also an actress. She is on Power Book 2 right now. Was she in the original Power? I don't watch Power. I'm sorry, y'all. She's been in other movies. She's been in, one I need to re-upload, speaking of which. She was in the Aretha movie. From what I've seen of her, I haven't seen her in a lot of things. I feel like I should. But she's pretty good to me. It's not too Mary J. Blige's. She started off in the 90s. They also talk about her life in the documentary, which, I mean, this CD that they're discussing called My Life. The documentary is called My Life. So it's about her life, of course. But it's mainly specifically about her second album, her sophomore album, My Life. I just said the title like 4 times and I just forgot. But yeah, that's what it's about. And there's Diddy, like I mentioned, Andre Harrell, who I know I think he passed away by the time it came out. So she dedicated the movie to him. There were like producers she had worked with, the writers she had worked with. There were fans there. There was a concert. There's concert footage. There's like a cartoon parts that are really visually interesting. I really like that. So it was like a mixture of different things. Her doing face to face, like her talking to the camera. Her back in the studio footage of her back in the day, videos back in the day, video footage of her like performing back in the day and talking to fans and meet and greets, and it's all in there. So what she said was My Life was her darkest album, and I did not know this. It has a sample, the title track My Life, Everybody Loves the Sunshine by Roy Ayers, because Mary said that she wanted the sunshine for herself because she grew up in the slow bomb projects and it was like hell to her. It was not good, and she had to see a lot of traumatic things. For example, her mom had to deal with abusive relationships. Mary also was in an abusive relationship with the singer from Jodeci, Casey. So it was like mirroring her experience, and she wanted so bad to get her family out of there, so she wanted the sunshine. So that's why she wanted to use the sample. So when she first came out with the 401, it was like she was fusing R&B with hip-hop beats, and Misa Hilton helped her with her style. If y'all don't know who Misa Hilton is, she is Diddy's first baby mama. She's a stylist. I should say she's a stylist first because she don't deserve to be just Diddy's baby mama. She's a stylist, number one. Of course, a mom. She is very proud of being a mom. So Mary was called the Queen of Ghetto Fabulous Style. Puffy and Misa helped mold her sound and her style. She said they believed in her before she believed in herself. Well, she said she had very low self-esteem and she was very insecure. And she let that out during the My Life album. And, even though you think, oh, you have all the success, you have all these platinum records, all these things, she still wasn't happy, as she was saying. Okay. Oh, so since she was the Queen of Ghetto Fabulous Style with the baseball hats and the jerseys and the tennis skirts, and everybody just loved her and like what she had on. So a lot of black girls and women felt like they could really relate to Mary's stories and her songs and her style, being from similar backgrounds. So, people from where she was from and people in other projects and other black women really looked up to her and saw themselves in her. So that really helped them. Okay. Also, with her having all this fame and stuff, she said things were going so fast and she was going through the motions basically, and was using drugs and alcohol to cope. Because, she went from being in the projects to just in survival mode. Well, she said she was in survival mode still during the 401 era. And she's just going from place to place, and she's having all these new experiences. And basically, she's just going through the motions. It's like she's not really enjoying anything because everything's just happening. That's what she was saying. She said that, like I said, her relationship with Casey at first it was good, and then it became abusive and dark. She dumbed herself down to not seem more special than him. And she said My Life was more of her truth than What's the 401. What's the 401 was more of trendy, fashion forward. I guess it was more of introducing her, sound wise, I feel like, and style wise. Which I will say, they didn't really talk about it because I understand My Life was a darker, more raw album, but I did like her style in the My Life era too. I thought she looked really cute. She had the blonde pigtails and the red lipstick, and I think she always had a mole, but she had the little mole, she had the little hats, she had the leather jackets and stuff, and I thought it was a cool style era for her too. And so she said, Be With Me, one of the songs connected with Diddy and Mary, because Diddy and Mary were both going through Well, Diddy broke up with Misa, and then Mary, her relationship was falling apart with Casey. And then there were other people around her that were also in dark spaces that connected with each other, like the writers and the producers, and everybody was connecting, and she was writing. And when she was writing, everybody could feel each other and the energy. She was falling apart, but wasn't telling or showing her family what she was going through. She said she wouldn't go around her mom or her sister because she didn't want them to see her, self-destructing. And she describes it as screaming without anything coming out. And one scene, she said that she was like really high and she was on the couch and she could see clouds coming in and she was like, this can't be the only life for me. So, yeah. Oh, and then writing and singing helped her get out what she was feeling. And she was writing and singing to be free and for her life. And she said her fans helped her live and want to live and inspire each other. So she inspired them. She said they inspired her. So she really liked that people were relating to like what she was saying and how she was feeling. And they also had like, which it does go under my cons, but it was like a little Mary J. Blige, like I guess fan club support circle kind of thing. And they were talking about how her songs impacted her. I mean, how her songs impacted them and how it made them feel. And not saying that their stories were bad. They were very endearing. They were sad stories, One of the fans, he was gay, and he was saying that, he was being made fun of for that as a teenager, and he was plus size. And, being a big guy, they made fun of him, and he was like on the brink of suicide. And so Mary J. Blige's My Life really helped him get through that. Because he figured, if somebody else was feeling sad like he was, then, he could relate to that. That was one of the stories. And she protects herself at the age she was when she created My Life. So she was like in her early 20s. That was one of the main things that I took away from it that really stuck with me. So she said she protects her at that age. So it was like her early 20s. And she had an interview where she was watching herself. And she was like, oh, I could tell I didn't like that person. So she was kind of guarded and didn't say too much. And she was like, that's the Mary that I want to protect. And I found that really like, I'm trying to think what I find that. I found that really like relatable for me. Because it's like, we all, I don't know if we all, but sometimes people have traumatic events in their lives and they realize, oh my gosh, at this point in my life, this happened. So maybe I have bad memories of this specific time, or this specific time I have better memories. For me, for example, I have a lot of memories when I was in 8th grade, when I was 14, I have all these great memories. But then at 15, it's like I can't remember much except for when I was being sexually abused. So it's like I realized over time that that's the reason why I have so many memories before that were so great to me, So that was heavy. And she also says she protects her 5-year-old self, because that's when she got molested. And she didn't know who she was. She didn't realize how great she would become. So, she really, at that time, she didn't really believe in herself, but, people around her believed in her and, told her that how great she was. And she eventually learned, like, hey, I'm really great, And she said she's never afraid to expose herself and her truth to others, to help others. So she wants to expose herself and her raw emotions to help other people. So I found that also really endearing. So there's a lot of pros. Now let's go to the cons. So like I said, some scenes with the fans and the dinner scene. So they had a dinner scene for her birthday. It seemed semi-forced versus natural, like her, just talking and just kind of making it natural. It kind of seemed forced, like especially the support group fan scenes. Oh, so I made 2 points. So I guess it was some other scenes with fans that were a little awkward. There was like one where they were like at a table. I'm like spoiling it a little bit, even though I told you like I wasn't specific, but I told you everything that's in it pretty much. But it was kind of like awkward. Like they're just standing around a table, just talking. I mean, I guess you could stand around a table and talk, but I guess because the cameras there, it wasn't really natural. And the dinner scene, I mean, of course people can make toast at their dinner, but I felt like would she have made that if she wasn't filming the documentary? I don't know. So the fan support group scenes were weird to me. They just like sitting in a circle talking about Mary J. Blige. It reminded me of like an AA meeting. Like, hey, what are you doing here? It's like you sitting around like, hey, I'm so and so, and I'm an alcoholic, and they're like, hi, so and so, and then you tell your story. That's what it reminded me of. I think they only got to talk to her in like one scene, which is the one I just talked about when they're like around the table, which I think that was the same group of people that were from the support group were there, but I'm not 100% sure because like only one fan had actually talked. So I'm gonna have to rewatch that part. Oh, and I wish they had shown more of her in the studio making the album if they had more footage, because that was really nice, like to see her actually singing in the studio and seeing the process of her getting the songs out, you know. And I also wish they had talked about the process for all of the songs. So they specifically talked about like Be With Me, My Life, and I think it was called Never Gonna Give You Up or something like that. Let me check. Let me see what song they say. Oh, I Never Want to Live Without You. There we go. So they talked about that song. My Life, I never want to live without you. Be With You, and I think they did talk about I'm Going Down. So they talked about like only a few of the tracks, but I wish they had talked about more and gone through like the whole process of like all the songs, because that would have been really interesting. I mean, it would have been longer. He was on like an hour and maybe 30-40 minutes, so it would have been longer, but I feel like that would have been nice. I felt like, not saying I didn't like the concert parts or the parts where she was talking or the parts where they were showing her old neighborhood and the cartoon parts, but I kind of wish they had maybe just focused on the music part, like the actual recording of the songs and what she thought of, what she was thinking of on every song. I feel like that would have been really interesting. But overall, here's my overall opinion. I really enjoyed it, and anyone who's a huge MJB fan, I can't talk today, I think they would really enjoy it. I love me some Mary. So she's one of my favorite singers, so of course I had a great time. Some of the scenes were choppy and awkward at times, but when her and the producers and the writers were describing the songs, those were the most powerful scenes to me. And also her talking about protecting little girl version of her at 5 and the young woman version of her during the My Life era. And I also loved the cartoon portions. So they had like some scenes that they made into like cartoons. And when they were talking about her slow bomb housing projects, where she used to live with her mom and sister, and with her relationship with Casey, and I thought those were unique elements. So they had like when they were Rocky, they had one cartoon panel of him over here, one cartoon panel of her over there, like in two different buildings. It was really cute. Like I said, I wish they explored all of the songs on the album, but that just means I gotta go re-listen to it. And yeah, I just gotta go listen to it myself, which I will gladly do. Oh well. But some songs I have forgotten, so I'm thinking I really do need to go back and listen to it, because some of these songs I did not even remember. So that'll probably be a good idea. And I love Mary. Who don't want to listen to Mary? Mary. Sound like an old lady when I say that, but she got an old school name. It is what it is. But yeah, I think that would be nice to since I watched the documentary, to go back. That's what I was gonna do last night, but I stayed, like I told you, I stayed up till 4, and I was like, let me get to bed. So yeah, I would definitely revisit that in the near future. Now, let me just tell y'all something. I know Diddy was a big part of her career, but every time he was on the screen, I did side eye him. I was looking like, you here? Now, I'm sure if they had anything bad going on, clearly they made up. But I'm still I don't know about Diddy. He still shaded me. So, but yeah, I would give the documentary. First, I gave it a 7 out of 10. I think I'll keep it there. So yeah, I'll give it 7 out of 10. I would highly recommend it. I'm trying to think, should I give it an 8 out of 10? I feel like if they add more songs and had like more literally like how they made the album and that was like the main focus, I feel like it would have been higher. But yeah, so I wrote a poem based off of this documentary, and it's a Sudoku poem, so it's 2 katuwas. I don't know if I said that right. So basically their poems are 5 syllables, 1 line, 7 syllables, 7 syllables, but it's 2 of those, so that makes it a Sudoku. Okay. So it's called For When I Need to Protect Myself. Be at peace because you don't have to suffer anymore. You are free. Your life is just not trauma back to back. You will step into you. So yeah, so it reminds me of, for me personally, I want to protect myself, my 15-year-old self, and I don't remember the exact age the first time. I had some trauma, sexual trauma, maybe like 10, 11, 12. So I want to protect the child version of me and both of those, I'm still a child technically. Legally speaking, anyway. You know, some people are weird. I think even if you're like 18, 19, I still think you're a kid, honestly. And even if you're 20, I still think you're a kid. So no matter the legality, you know. Sometimes I'm 30 and I still feel like a kid. So, you know, I want to protect the preteen, I guess, prepubescent. So I guess before puberty me, and when I was going through puberty, 15-year-old me. So yeah, so that made me like really like connect with that part. Like it made me really think about the things that have happened in my life, and that my life doesn't have to be trauma after trauma after trauma. You know, I can expect better from myself. And you know, Mary also had to realize, you know, she had trauma after trauma after trauma, and some trauma that didn't happen to her. Her mom went through an abusive relationship, and then she went through it. So she had to see, you know, that it wasn't the cycle that she wanted to have. You know what I mean? And one thing that I thought was so cute, when she first started singing, her mom would just be around the house, you know, different records and stuff, and she'd be singing, and then Mary was like, I don't know if idolize is the right word, but she admired her mom very much and wanted to be able to sing the same things that she was singing. So that really inspired her. And I feel like that's really important, especially for Black women, because I was looking at TikTok the other day, or like a few days ago, and it was like, why do Caribbean Black, I forgot what, or African moms, why do they have like this weird hateful relationship with their daughters? And I feel like me and my mom did not have that kind of relationship, thank you, the Lord God in heaven. But I definitely have seen really weird toxic relationships with moms, especially Black moms across the whole, I'm gonna say the wrong word, diaspora, was it dysphoria, among all kinds of Black people around the world. I have definitely seen where mothers seem to be like jealous, which is weird to me because that's your child. Why are you jealous of your child? Or they act, you know, like weirdly like hateful to their daughters, but their sons get to just do whatever they want, which I feel like is part of also patriarchal society that came from the white man and infiltrated all of our spaces because they colonized us. So I feel like that's also a reason. But it's our duty to break those chains and to not keep passing them on. And the TikToker who said that also mentioned like about generational trauma. Like, stop passing it on. We gotta stop it. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you all will check out this documentary if you haven't, and I will see you all next week.